Music and Media, Passman chapters 29, 30, and 32, section 1. Film songwriter deals. These are the deals for the songs, both music and lyrics, or instrumental only. This is different than the score or underscore, the background music. So you need to keep the thought that these are separate components, so we need to talk about them separately. So film songwriter deal points. The fees range from nothing to $100,000 for established writers. A majority of the deals fall in the $25,000 to $50,000 range for major films. But it depends on whether the writer gets a part of the publishing. There can be extra kickers based on the sale of the film. There can also be pay or play deals. In other words, if they don't play the film or they don't play the song in the film, then they still have to pay the songwriter. Okay. Also, you can have step deals, which are done over steps, obviously. Writer creates a song and gives a company a demo recording for a small amount of money. The writer's required to rewrite the song. The film company is happy and it goes forward. And the writer does it on spec, which is, saying that there's no guarantee that they're going to take it. They may just write the song and then say, no, we're not interested in that song. So that is, obviously a risk because, they take a lot of time, but they can still publish a song on their own. The rights granted almost always treated as work for hire. If not, the writer can terminate transfer after 35 years because if it's not a work for hire, they're the copyright holder who transfers it to the film company. And of course, once they transfer it, they can terminate that transfer 35 years after. No termination rights for work for hire. The film company is going to ask for rights to use the song in sequels, prequels, trailers, co-promotions, studio tours, theme parks, live entertainment. Once again, these are multinational companies. They're involved in so many different areas. Universal's got their theme parks. Disney has their theme parks. And also they usually do these movies in series, so they're going to want to add on the front end or the back end of that. So they want to get those rights up front. Publishing, usually until recently, writers got no share of publishing, but now they're getting 25 to 50%. Once again, these are the songwriters for the films. 100% to the songwriter for smaller budget films. This has become a challenge if the song is part of the underscore. In terms of credits, it's usually in the end titles unless it is the title song or it is sung by a major artist. Then credit can be negotiated into a single card on the picture, at the end or at the beginning. And the billing block used in the ads, the posters with the picture of the film, and then at the bottom, there's all the credits at the bottom. Now, composer agreements, these are the deals for the score underscore. This is different than an agreement for the songs in the film. Usually the composer records it electronically first so that the director and producer can approve it before a lot of money is spent recording it with a professional orchestra because it takes a lot of time and money to do that. You're hiring union musicians. They have to work for 3-hour minimums and take multiple breaks, and it's very expensive if you're going to change the music after you record it. So the composer almost never gets any share of the publishing. The only exception would be a low-budget film where the producers let the composer keep the publishing in exchange for a lower fee to write the music. Score fees range from $50,000 to $2 million or more. The normal range is in the $300,000 to $1 million range. Delivery date is a critical negotiation point. As I said, the music cannot be done until the film is locked. And usually there are delays in the production of the film, so all the crunch comes at the very end, which is when the music is added. So they usually get 10 to 12 weeks to complete the score. Composer deal points, exclusivity, not as common now as it is first priority. In other words, you can't work on anything while you're working on this film. Well, these composers are very popular and they make a lot of money and they have a lot of projects going. So it's really hard to lock them up for that period of time for 10 to 12 weeks, but they may ask for first priority over anything else. This means a composer can take other work as long as it doesn't impact the release of the film. Some deals require exclusivity during the spotting through recording phase of the music preparation because that's when it's really critical. And what is spotting? Spotting is when the composer and director sit down with a final cut of the film and determine exactly which spots need music and the exact length of each. The payment schedule, the composer needs to sign a certificate of authorship, which means that the studio owns everything that they do. Many times composers don't do the orchestration, so they may be hired out to somebody who normally gets paid $140 per page of score. Simple orchestrations are $400 per minute of music, and complex orchestrations can exceed $30,000 for a film if we're talking about major orchestras. Orchestrations, scoring, strings and brass and percussion. The contract needs to clarify if the composer fee includes orchestrations or not. Record royalties. Composers don't automatically get record royalties. It needs to be negotiated. Once again, they're the underscore, not the song composer. Underscore royalties are only paid for conducting the orchestra and or producing the recording. And the royalties are usually 6 to 10%. Producing is 3 to 4%. And there's floors, meaning they don't pay below a certain amount for major composers. And then as far as recoupment, the record company normally only recoups the conversion costs. Sometimes a composer gets royalties after conversion costs are recouped. And then if the score is being recorded in Abbey Road in London, the composer may ask for business or first class travel and first class hotel, and also a stipend and local currency. In other uses, ringtones and master classes with a songwriter royalty and 50% of ringtone mechanical. And that's the end of section 1 of Music and Media.